Hey guys, welcome to my channel Hammonds Hobbies. My name's Glenn and I like to talk about F1 sets and Pokemon. Today we're going to be showing you a little subset that came out in 2022 and that is the F1 Lights Out set, which has some really cool dark images in there. So let's have a little look. Before we get into it, I just want to say, as always, huge thank you to everyone that's been smashing up the like button. Continue to do so. I want to try and grow the F1 community hobby all around the world, so make sure you smash up that like button. That's the fastest way I'm going to be able to grow. Also, if you're new to this channel, consider clicking subscribe if you want to know more about F1 as the community grows, and also obviously card investments in the F1 hobby world. I don't do any other sports. I know my F1, I don't know anything else about any other sport, so please don't ask me about Lionel Messi or Ronaldo's cards or anything like that. So today I'm going to show you my collection of F1 Topps Lights Out. This was like a little subset that came out in these tiny little boxes here, so you can see I tried to match up the logo as much as I could for my binder. But yeah, they were tiny little boxes. I can't remember how many packs you got in it, but there's 25 cards in here. I think there's only 25 in the whole set, I'd say. One parallel in every single box. I'll show you what the parallels are in a second. But yeah, this isn't going to be a long video, guys, because this is quite a small set. But because obviously I collect them in such large binders, I was like, oh, it looks silly, you know, only using 1 or 2 pages at this whole book. So what I done was, you'll see, I actually put them in order of team. And I also collected 4 of each, so I'm pretty covered with F1 Lights Out. I've got loads left over as well. I opened so many boxes of them. But these aren't actually numbered in any way, so there's no numbers on any of these cards. So I just started putting them in team order. So obviously, because these are free going downwards, it worked out ideal, because for every single team there's 2 drivers and then their car card. Now what I like about this F1 Lights Out are they're very harsh lit. I used to have a photography studio, so I know a little bit about photography, but very harsh lit, low light shots, hence why it's called Lights Out, which look really cool. It's not the usual fluffy duffy like these type of images here where it's George Russell smiling, doing a fake grin. They're sort of more moody shots, them looking towards very harsh light, and I really like that. I really like some of the images here. It shows the driver's personality more, like Lewis Hamilton doing this with his hands. That's better than him just standing there, you know, like that. So yeah, I really like some of these images. Obviously, Lewis Hamilton, got to start off with him. He's my main man, and obviously Mercedes winning last year. Now, this is confusing because this set came out and this set is up to date, whereas the other sets, which were flagship or paper stock like this one, Chrome, they were a year behind. So within the space of about 2 months, we had like 3 different sets come out. Some of them were for this year, some of them were for last year, so a little bit confusing. So when I'm talking about obviously different sets, like I've just recorded the Sapphire set, obviously that's from like 2 years ago. So I do forgive me if I say some teams or names wrong, but we've got Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez just joined, obviously pretty much being told, I would imagine, you have to be a number 2 to Max, but at least you're going to be in Formula 1 for another year or 2. Then we have obviously Ferrari with Carlos Sainz, Charles Leclerc with their Ferrari car. I don't like these cars. They've just changed this year, so 2022, and they are better looking cars. So I'm really looking forward to when Topps release a set including this year's cars. Then we have Lando Norris, very popular card, probably one of the, I don't know why, but because he hasn't had a race win yet, he's only had a couple of podiums. McLaren don't seem to have any chance of winning a championship anytime soon, but yet, very popular card. Like, people assume, I think, that he's going to be a world champion at some point, which I think he will be if he gets in the right team. Then we have the brand new Alpine, so that was Renault in last year's set, but now it's obviously Alpine. They brought Fernando Alonso back to sort of raise the publicity, or obviously the brand change within Renault. So that's Renault's sporting car brand now, Alpine. Although I've never seen an Alpine car personally. Then we have Sebastian Vettel and Lance Stroll at Aston Martin, which obviously in last year's set was still Racing Point, which before that was Force India. George Russell and Latifi at Williams. Obviously now George Russell is at Mercedes for this year, for 2022. So he's gone from literally the back of the grid to sort of the front end of the grid now. Then we have Pierre Gasly, Yuki Tsunoda. Obviously Yuki Tsunoda making the jump from the F2 team slot in the 2020 sets into obviously now AlphaTauri, which his performance is a bit sketchy to say the least. Alfa Romeo, complete change. Kimi Raikkonen has now retired. Antonio Giovinazzi, as far as I know, isn't in this year, if I'm correct. I'll have to check that actually. Because I know it's now Zhou Yangyu and who's the other guy? Is it Giovinazzi? I can't remember. I'm going to have to check that now because that's going to bug me. But yeah, the Alfa Romeo team have changed drivers quite a bit. Then we have the Haas team. So obviously Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin both at the same time making the jump from F2 to F1. Both in the same team as well. How odd's that? So if you watch the Drive to Survive, the Haas team needed to find sponsorship. They found it in the form of Nikita Mazepin's father, who's a billionaire. And now a lot of people Nikita Mazepin's cards, because he's now not in Formula 1 because of the war in Russia and Ukraine, they replaced him with Kevin Magnussen. But you got to remember, Formula 1 isn't just about who performs the best. If we look at, say, Lance Stroll, I think the only reason Lance Stroll was still at the top end of the, midfield team, if you like, is because his dad owns the team. I think if you took that away, would he work his way down the grid? I think so, personally. But could Nikita Mazepin make a comeback? He's saying he is going to come back to F1 once he can. If he does, that is going to be the buy of the century, buying loads of Nikita Mazepin cards and just hoping, because you can pick these up dirt cheap. And that's the end of the set in terms of all the teams. Then we go on to what they call History Maker. So behind Lewis Hamilton, you can see in this neon writing, H and an M. It's a little bit confusing because the driver takes up most of the cards, so you can't see the writing behind them, but that's History Maker. You can see in a very small writing, it says there, History Maker, most points. Then we have Esteban Ocon for Alpine first win of the year. Then we have Kimi Raikkonen for most starts. So he's the driver that's had the most amount of starts on the grid. Obviously being one of the older drivers. He's retired now. Then we have the rookie race card. So we've got Yuki Tsunoda, Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin, as we've just talked about. And then here, this one was a bit confusing to everyone. This image here is a V and a big T. So everyone was like, what does VT stand for? But actually, it is the world champion. So there is actually a W there and then a C that touches the W. So it's slightly confusing. But behind them, it says world champion. So we have a few world champions, and that is Lewis Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, Sebastian Vettel and Kimi Raikkonen. I'm a bit gutted that the set ended there and there was just this empty space. And then I've just thought, I'll start putting Max and Lewis's in here just as spares. And then here I have some of the parallels that I pulled. So what they've done is the parallels are exactly the same as the normal cards, but they're just different colours. There's no holo to them. There's no sapphire effect or anything like that. Literally, it's just a different shade of colour. Which I know you could say that about Chrome, but in Chrome, they're sort of holo. When I say holo, foil, different colours. So they shimmy different colours in the light. These are completely matte finish. So if I compare this to, say, this is probably the worst one to compare. Look at that. You wouldn't even tell if apart from this number in the corner, you wouldn't be able to tell that that's a parallel. That's just unlucky the way that team matches up with that colour there, green. But if I show you the other one, which was Nikita Mazepin, his rookie race card is in red, I believe. Yeah, there you go. So that one does look completely different. This one's out of 75 as well. I pulled about 3 of these. I also pulled absolutely tons of Fernando Alonso, the world champion. This card here, I hated this card. I was hoping for a 1-of-1 Lewis Hamilton like everyone else, but I kept getting Fernando Alonso. So that really frustrated me. But that's it. That is literally the whole of F1 Lights Out. I've shown you every single card, 4 of each, and I've shown you some parallels as well. And that is the end of the F1 Lights Out set. I don't know if they will do another F1 Lights Out set. I hope they do, because I really like the images for it. And it was a nice little cheap set. It was a nice bit of fun, you know. You could pick these boxes up for about £60 to £100, depending on how many you bought of them. And at the moment, as of recording this video in May 2022, these boxes are about £120. So still, compared to obviously 4 or 5 grand, say like the Sapphire set, these are a relatively cheap little collection to complete, meaning that the cards are also cheap as well. So I've got loads of spare F1 Lights Out cards, and I mean, you couldn't sell them for £1 or £2. Like, you'd still struggle to get rid of them all. But I like the images, I like the set as a whole. I'm really happy that I've completed this. I can tick this off my list of sets to do. Obviously, if you've liked this content, don't forget to smash up the like button. Also, click subscribe if you are new to this channel. I'm going to show more complete sets like this, because I try and complete at least one of every single set before I start completing parallels and alternative cards and stuff like that. I try to complete one of every single set. If you like seeing that, make sure you click subscribe. Make sure you tick the little bell notification. In the next week or two, we will have some really big premium unboxings, so make sure you follow me for that. I have got to show you guys the flagship set, or the paper stock that came out. Obviously the chrome set. I also have to show you guys, what other sets have I got? These are all my F1 sets behind me. Now normally you can't see them because my fat belly blocks the way. I've got the Tops Now 2020 and 2021. I don't know if I've done videos for those, so I might do that in the future. I've got some F1 Classic cards, so like they're just some old cards that I've picked up along the way. I've got a 44 binder, so that's just all Lewis Hamiltons. I've done the chrome set, and I've also got to do 2021 chrome, so that's another video I've got to do, and the flagship set as well. I've done both the match attacks, I've done the sticker collection, and I think I've done chrome as well, 2020 version. I also have, this is my La Piece de Resistance. This binder here is a fat binder. I think I've made it too thick actually. And yeah, this set is going to be my baby. I'm going to have a complete refractor, purple, and then gold set. But I'm going to show that off once I've completed more of the set. Because I think that's going to look really special. And I think that'll be worth quite a bit of money going forward in the future, because to me, this will be 2020 completed. Like, you know, there's nothing more I can do in 2020 if I complete all 3 of them sets, as well as obviously having the original chrome plus the sapphire set. There's nothing more I can do for 2020 set. I really love 2020. That's my favourite set so far. I hope one day another set comes out and it overtakes my love for 2020. But yeah, that is, for me, that is always going to be the set to own. But yeah, that's it guys. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.